welcome to the channel, DorkFish Brothers. Today I'm going to be cooking with the boys. I'm kind of scrunched down here right now.
We're
going to make some potatoes.
Yeah.
We're going to be making Grandma Della's potatoes.
Yeah. Here, guys. It's when we find
the potatoes there. So we're going to get them chopped up. And I'll be back shortly.
Yeah, we'll be back shortly with that potato. Yeah.
This is going to be interesting. First, you guys, can you show them your aprons that you have?
Yep. This is Cameron.
This is Cameron. This is Cameron's apron. He has dinosaurs. And then this is Nikki's apron, and he has dinosaurs. And Anna just has like a plain one today. Okay, we'll be right back.
Bye.
Okay, you guys, I'm going to be cutting up the potatoes because the boys aren't allowed to touch knives. So we're going to slice the potatoes. The boys are going to put it in a container over here, right, boys?
Yeah. And we will drop it.
Yeah, so you won't drop it. And then as I start to roll it together, we'll be right back. Today we're going to have soul food. So we're going to have ribs, and we're going to have greens, and brisket beans, and hot water cornbread. We're going to have macaroni and cheese.
And sugar and flour.
And we haven't decided on the rest yet. I'm sure some sweet tea will be in there somewhere for my southern roots. So we'll be back shortly. Hang in there. This is going to be interesting. Okay, I'm going to slice some of the potatoes. I know, I whole thing's weird. But we're going to slice these up. I like to slice my potatoes and leave the ends on it because when they cook in the pan and when they soften up, it keeps them intact. Then when we eat it, of course, you can just peel this off and remove it. But the sugar and everything will break it down and make it really soft. So I'm going to slice these up just to give you an idea. You want to make these really thick. So I'd say about 1.5 inches. To let them soften up, and they'll make really good yams.
Hey, Google.
Okay, you guys, the boys have sanitized really well, and they're gonna put their potatoes inside the container, and then I'm gonna rinse them, and we'll be getting ready. So go ahead, boys. You drop them in there. Go really fast.
Go chop.
One, go fast. Drop.
I gotta wait for that.
Drop.
One.
Drop.
Two.
Who's going fast? Who's going fast?
I am.
Who's going fast? Who's going fast?
I was going fast.
Who's going?
Oh
no, one jumped out of the bowl. Who's going?
Oh.
All right, good job, boys. Good to see you. Good job, boys. Okay, you guys, we're gonna add in some items. Cameron, can you pour the sugar in?
Yeah.
Cameron's gonna pour the sugar over the yams now that we have them in there. I have to help you, okay?
Okay.
Spread it out all over. Okay, let Grandma get some on this side. Okay, now for the rest. Okay. And now, Cameron, can you drop some butter in there? Just drop them in different places, okay? Drop again. Just butter. Makes it taste really good. You don't want to put butter on your eggs. And you like it, drop it. Watch your face. Drop it. You drop one in the middle. It's disgusting. It's like monster slime. Okay, and hold on, I'll have to get your towel. Now we're gonna pour in.
I got to go. Hold on, guys.
Okay, Cameron wants to hold on a second. Hold on.
Okay, guys. We put some butter on it, and we put some flour on it.
And sugar. Yeah, we'll put sugar. Now we're gonna put vanilla. See the vanilla? I use a little bit more vanilla than most people probably use because I like a really strong flavor. So Cameron, can you pour it in here? Let me help you. I have to help you. See, that's why I help you. Pour. There you go. You have to be a good listener too when you're in the kitchen and you're learning, okay?
Okay.
You have to listen. put about 2 cups of water. I use a tall glass for that. Cameron, can you pour this in? 2 hands, please. I'm gonna pour. Water. Oh yeah, that's perfect. So yes, I would say about 2 cups of water, and we have about 3 yams that we sliced up, nice sized yams. And so this is all ready. We'll let this cook down. I don't use cinnamon or nutmeg. I just like a nice strong vanilla flavor. And so we're gonna put the lid on this, push this out of the way, and then we're gonna make our next meal, huh, Cameron?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, bye. We'll be next time.
Then we'll be right back.
We'll be right back. Oh. Okay, guys. First we have these.
We have, what is these? These are greens.
Green.
And we're lucky because our Uncle Frederick, my brother, he grows greens every summer and he packaged them up. Yes, just wet. Cameron has a thing about his hands. Okay, wipe it on here. And so I'm lucky I don't have to really season it or do anything. They're already ready. He packages it up, we put it in the freezer, and then when I'm ready, my foods are done. Okay, wipe your hands and we're good, okay? And so the good thing about what you can do is cook a lot of the foods that you like ahead of time. That takes a long time. Like generally, I cook my beans ahead of time, like the brisket beans. I'm actually making some of those today. And so most of these items are cooked ahead of time, so when we want to have a nice hearty meal, all these things are already ready for us. So I'm just gonna get these on the stove. Hold on. We're gonna get these on the stove. I like a little bit of spice. I do put some cayenne. Okay, Cameron's gonna shake just a little, not too much, because I don't want it to be too hot. Okay, go, go. Okay, don't make you sneeze. And then I'm gonna get these started, and then we're gonna move on to the next item. I have to decide which one is gonna be next. Okay, Cameron said we'll be right back.
Bye, we'll be right back. Oh.
Okay, you guys, we're in the process of the brisket beans. I have some nice sized onions and bell pepper, cilantro, of course, sounds like sofrito, huh? Some cumin in there, garlic, onion powder, salt, pepper. Of course, the brisket. It's gonna cook up really nice. I have some brisket stock in there, so you can see that kind of floating. And so the beans are cooking nicely underneath here. I won't disturb them. It'll give them time to swell. And so I have my brisket beans on. I have my greens on. I have my yams on. I'm planning to do a macaroni and cheese, and then my sister-in-law, Stephanie's favorite, hot water cornbread. My recipe is a little bit different from hers, but whenever we start out with something that's kind of close, I like to name the item after them, just to honor them and teach the kids. And I'll be right back. So you guys, during COVID, we tried to buckle down our food supply. I bought these large containers. Look like the big pink buckets, but they're actually food grade. And we labeled each one. I bought all the things that are long life: sugar, flour, cornmeal, brown sugar, powdered sugar, macaroni noodles, beans, rice, all of those things. I did kind of keep this habit going after we got through COVID. I find that it's a lot cheaper to just buy the large size, restaurant size, and store these things. So I always have it on hand. So I'm basically just locked down to buying dairy and meats. And so that's what I still continue to do with this. This might be an idea you guys want to try. You'll be amazed how much you can save just by going to the restaurant supplies or big box stores such as Costco and Sam's, and buy the large size and then store it away this way. You'll always have these items. We also buy the oversized oil containers as well. And so we keep all of this stuff on hand within the house. So whenever I feel like cooking up something, I pretty much have all the items, along with my spices. I do the same thing with that as well. So just something to consider, while you guys are out grocery shopping. It really stretches your dollar. Just a little bit to think about. Hey, you guys, I was just in my kitchen and I was moving a pan. I'm always giving you guys advice, huh? I advise you to get some of these. My husband actually got these for me. It keeps you from getting burned when you're handling pots or pans or steam is coming off of a pot. If you've ever had, and I'm sure you have, your mittens to get your pots and pans and a little water gets on it, and then when you go to touch a pot and that steam hit you, you will always remember. So since I had these, I don't recommend a particular brand. My husband got these for me, but they really help being in the kitchen. Kind of ugly, but they really help being in the kitchen. And you can get different colors. I like these, so it's okay. Anyway, Cameron had a few things to say in between there. He's watching his tablet. But yeah, get yourself a pair of these. You won't regret it. Okay, you guys, I'm gonna make my macaroni and cheese. Culturally, it's a big debate in our culture on who gets to make the macaroni and cheese. Like, it's a big deal. So the main thing I would say that I do with mine is to make sure that you drain. Take the time to let all the noodles relax. You want to stop the cooking process when it comes off the stove. Run it through cold water so that they don't get too mushy or too soft. So you want them a little bit dense. And then make sure that you put them in a colander just long enough to let all the water drain off so you don't have water locked into the noodles. And then what I generally do is I butter my pan, and then I put my first layer of noodles down. I'm kind of using a big pan. I know we're doing it today, but I put my first layer of noodles down, and then I have my seasonings mixed up. My little secret to my macaroni and cheese, who doesn't like ranch? And I throw a little bit of dry ranch seasoning in with my garlic powder, my onion powder, my salt and my pepper, and a little bit of sesame, and I use that and I kind of sprinkle it through as I go, and that helps push the flavor through. And then I don't like a sharp cheese. I didn't like macaroni and cheese when I was growing up, and it turns out, basically because I didn't like cheddar cheese. So I use a Mexican blend of cheese. It has about 5 different cheeses. It makes it a little bit softer in taste, but really cheesy. You can never go and have too much of that. Then instead of pouring my milk mixture, which is milk and egg, I pour a little bit as I go so that I can kind of shake my pan down, and then I go back in and repeat the process with the noodles and my seasoning, and I just continue with that until I have it all together. And then I do butter the top. Most times I melt the butter because I don't like those big square clumps that usually sit on top of the cheese. So I make sure that I put the butter first, and then I put a layer of cheese. So when it starts to melt down, the butter drizzles down into the macaroni and cheese, and then it gets a nice golden touch on the top. And then you can spray or sprinkle melted butter over the top if you wanted to, have a coating on the outside of that. So basically that's what I do, and I'll repeat that process until my last layer is the macaroni, is the cheese on the top. And then I take it into about a 350 oven to golden brown. Make sure that it's not jiggling when I take it out, that it's set up really well. So that's pretty much how I do my macaroni and cheese, and so far I haven't been uninvited to any of the meals yet, so must be okay. Thanks for watching. Okay, you guys, I'm about to make, I call it hot water cornbread because I got that name from my sister-in-law, Stephanie, so I pay homage to her. In the South, we made it a little bit different, and we called it hush puppies. My husband's from Puerto Rico, and they called it, I'm gonna mess it up, saludos. I can never roll my R when I need to. And so they're all made a little bit different. In the South, we put in onions. In Puerto Rico, they stuff it with cheese. And so it's basically a cornbread fritter. Stephanie makes it where she drenches it with like a honey butter. In the South, we just made it with the onions, and we ate it with like a tangy sauce. eat it, and it's a little bit sweeter. It has a little sugar added to the base, and then cheese. But with my southern twist, I like to add in a spicy cheese. So that's where we're going with this today. First, what you do is you add all those items together, your flour and, well, I'll say this is how I do mine. I add a little bit of flour, cornstarch, because it helps me hold it together. I put a little bit of sugar into the dry mix, and I use a coarse cornmeal. It comes out best to me with cornmeal that's really coarse. And then you're gonna pour in your hot water. Because the water is so hot, it should be steaming hot. You're gonna, it'll start to cook the masa, cook the dough or the mix. And then you take your hands, and this is where, if I'm at the sink and I'm not showing you guys, I'm usually like running cold water and run my hands through it because you're molding it while it's hot. And then I'm gonna go through and, Kim was talking to me, threw me off. Then I'm gonna go through and dip my hands in cold water that I put in a bowl. I'm not using gloves. I know a lot of people do when they're cooking. Sometimes I do on here, but I am cooking for my family, although you guys are watching. But I won't be using gloves for this. And it gets molded, with the hands, which I kind of like. You just see the fingerprints in it, you know that it's homemade. And so I'm gonna mix this up, and then as I get it going, I'll give you guys a peek. So I'm pouring in the hot water. I don't measure anything. You don't want to put too much. You can always go back and add more if you don't have enough. But the cornmeal soaks the water up pretty good. You might think you have a lot in there, you don't. But start low. You can go back and add it in. Like I say, you want it to be like a sticky dough. And just continue to mix that up really good, because like I said, the hot water is basically cooking the dough. So when you go to fry it, the insides is already nice and soft, and then the outside will have like a nice crunch to it. So, like I smell the garlic. I put garlic in mine too, onions. You could put in peppers, or I put in jalapenos before because my husband likes that too. But then when I started using, I think that's a pepper jack hot pepper cheese, I didn't have to put the jalapenos into the mix. So 3 ways of making this. That's what I love about culture, is everyone brings something to the table. May have a different name, but the foods may look familiar. So that's what we're doing here. It's getting a little thick. So it's gonna be like a stiffer cornbread mix. If you can see this here, it's more stiff. Holes on there. And so I'm gonna start to mold this. Let me get some of these things out of the way. Just a moment. Okay, so I have my cold water that I'm gonna dip my hands in. And this is gonna be really hot. You see the steam coming out of the bowl. So you're like, okay, crazy people dipping their hands in hot stuff. That's the country part of me, I guess. So I'm gonna start to mold them. You need to have a plate on the side. So when you start to mold, usually I grab or push this way. I grab it and I move really fast. I mold it. It's really hot. But over time, just know if you start to cook in the kitchen, at some point you're gonna get burned. It's just gonna happen. But it only needs to happen once, and it won't happen again. So it's gonna come out like a little patty like this, basically. Throw it to the pan there. Dip my hands in cold water. I have ice in my water. It cools your hands off so you're not burning yourself. Gonna have a little towel to dry off. And I'll do some with cheese, and I'll do some, excuse me, without cheese. But my husband basically likes it with cheese. So I'm gonna recommend using sliced cheese. It's just gonna be a lot easier. If you had loose cheese, it's gonna be falling everywhere. Because I like it nice and cheesy, I do try to use at least half. So I fold it in half and then half again. Come back in, put that to the middle. I fold that in. Looks like a dough basically. I fold that in repeat that process. Again, I use the palm. I do my shapes. This time I have my cheese ready. Just like the first time. Up it there in the middle. My husband's aunt would make these for him every time that he would go home. I wasn't really familiar with it actually until he introduced it to me, and then my sister-in-law introduced a different version, and I only know the southern version, which was like hush puppies. And ours is a little bit looser in the south, with the onions added in, whole fresh onions, and then you would put the onions, drop it into the hot oil, or you could squeeze it, and they come out like little tiny cigars like that, this way, and it would be hush puppies. So I want to take you through the whole process. I'm gonna make up a few more of these, and then I'll be right back. This is why you want to make sure you dip your hands in the ice water. It'll keep the dough from sticking to your hands. So you want to make sure that you're doing that in between. Okay, this is where we are, guys. I'm going to give you a peek at the yams and how they're going. Looking pretty good, if I say so myself. And Cameron's been crying the whole time. Whenever I'm cooking, he's crying the entire time, wanting everything to be ready. So I'm going to show you the beans and see where they are. Here we are with the beans. They still have a little ways to go. I didn't cook them as fast as I did on that first video, but we're going to have to speed this show up. I have more of a tomato base in these this time as well. Like I said, you can always add what you like. So we got a little bit ways to go. I like to break those down and make their own sauce. And then we're going to move over to the greens. They're doing really well. And I'm waiting on the macaroni and cheese to brown off a little bit, and I'll show you that. And I'm heating up my oil for my hot water cornbread, or sarudos, I always screw that up, or my hush puppies, whatever name you want to give them. And so I'll show you that next. There's my mac and cheese. It's still baking off there, not quite brown yet, but the cheese has melted down. Everything's smooth on the top like I like. And so that should be ready. I'll show you when it's all done. Okay, you guys, so I finished up the hot water cornbread, our hush puppies, bigger than hush puppies, so it still looks like a cornbread fritter. Our sarudos, I can't roll my R. And anyway, they're all ready. We just it in honey and a little bit of butter. They're nice and crunchy, soft on the inside. And we'll be ready to eat those in just a bit. And then I'm going to show you the mac and cheese is finished. Okay, you guys, here's the mac and cheese. It's all done. I just took it out of the oven. Has a nice little crunch to it on the top, which I like, and it's nice and tender on the inside. It's a 5-blend cheese with the macaroni and cheese. And then I think that's pretty much it. I'm waiting on the ribs to come in. And I'll show you how close we are with the yams. I think I showed them, but I'll show you again. And here's the yams, the final product. You can see that nice bubbly there where it made its own syrup. So it's a nice vanilla syrup, like a caramelly taste because I use the butter and the vanilla. I like it better that way than nutmeg. I don't really care for it, and I don't really care for the cinnamon. I just like that nice vanilla flavor to it. And so those are the yams. And I'll show you the ribs as soon as they're ready. I put a sauce this time. Really good. It's gonna show me the ribs. Oh, those look good too. It's gonna be a hard decision. It's gonna be a hard decision. Which ones I want to yum on. Okay, guys, I took some of the beans from the pot. Went through my fast speed cook that you witnessed before, so that I could get dinner moving. So there's the briskets and the bell pepper and onion, cilantro. cilantro, basically a version of sofrito with just in larger chunks. And then there's cumin in there as well. Gives a nice taste to the beans. And so still waiting on the ribs. I just took a shot of those, so you'll see those. And then we should be ready for dinner. I don't know if you guys do like me, but once you cook a big meal like this, there is no hunger left. So I think these guys are gonna enjoy it, but my belly is full already just from sampling everything, so I think I'm good. But yeah, so I think I'm gonna tie it up right here since you got a peek of the ribs so I can get these guys fed. And thanks for watching and staying with us, and thank you for watching the DorkFish Brothers. I appreciate you guys so much, and we'll see you in the next video.